Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. I just finished watching Hell's Kitchen Season 23 Episode 5, and if I had to give their episode a rating, it would be a solid 6.5. This episode had plenty of drama in it, but I was glad to see the chefs finally coming together and showing that they can work as a team. Now over the course of this review, I will share my thoughts on the 4 highlights for the episode, and I will share my list for contenders and pretenders. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. The first highlight that I want to discuss is Egypt's first scene for the episode. In this scene, Egypt shows emotion because he's been up for elimination several times now, and it seems like there's a disconnect between him and his team. He has a brief scene with Anthony, and during this time, Anthony feels bad for nominating Egypt last time, but it seems like Anthony is a follower, which could be because he doesn't want the team to lock in on him for elimination. But there's another scene with Egypt and Wit, and she essentially tells him that he needs to play the game and make friends because he's an easy target for his team. Now in my opinion, while Hell's Kitchen is a culinary competition, one could argue that the show is a reflection on what it is like to work with a group of diverse people in the real world. Sometimes it could be extremely difficult to get a group of people on the same page, especially when mutual respect hasn't been established beforehand, and when all the group members are not on the same page when it comes to working together as a cohesive unit. I say all that to say that I understand Egypt's frustration because I'm the same way at my job. But in this setting, it is my opinion that Egypt will not get far unless he learns how to reel it back a little bit and know when to participate in the game of workplace politics. That's just my opinion. The second highlight for the episode is the challenge of the day. In this challenge, the two teams have a cook-off to see which chefs can make the best burger. The chefs have 7 different proteins to choose from, and because the blue team has 6 chefs, one chef has to volunteer to make 2 burgers. In my opinion, because the red team had more chefs, they should have had somebody volunteer to sit out of the challenge, or they should have only had 6 proteins for everyone to choose from, and 2 people from the red team cook the same protein, and the best dish from the red team goes up before the judges. Kyle volunteers to cook 2 burgers for the blue team, and because he only had 35 minutes to cook them, it really wasn't fair to Kyle. In my opinion, he should have either been given a head start, or everybody should have been given 45 minutes to complete their dishes. But this decision ultimately cost Kyle and the blue team as they lose to the red team by 1 point. During the challenge, some of the best dishes were cooked by Brandon, Megan, Hannah, Egypt, Magali, Anthony, and Wit, while some of the worst dishes were by Anne-Marie, Kyle, and Brittany. The third highlight that I want to talk about is Egypt's near departure from the show. Egypt shared that he was contemplating leaving the show because he misses his daughter, but in my opinion, that was just a small part of his frustrations. The much larger part involved Egypt's team hating him for whatever reason, and with his team being content with losing the challenges. Egypt tells Gordon and the other chefs that he plans to leave the competition, and Gordon essentially tells Egypt, "Not on my watch." We then see Gordon showering Egypt with compliments, and Gordon makes Egypt change his mind about leaving. I think it's worth mentioning that 4 people from the blue team have already left the competition, 2 of which were self-eliminations. To have 5 total people leave the blue team, and 3 self-eliminations, would be an embarrassment for the show, and it would have made the season drag on unless they shortened the number of episodes. But I honestly feel that Egypt has the type of leadership skills that Gordon wishes some of the other chefs had during dinner service. And I also agree with Egypt when he said that some of the folks that were on the show are not taking the process seriously. Now the fourth highlight for the show was the dinner service. Tonight's dinner service was by far the best dinner service for the season. The blue team made a handful of mistakes, such as Joe serving undercooked sliders, and the team having some communication issues. The red team also made their fair share of mistakes, such as Wit zoning out during dinner service. But both teams did relatively well, and I think that this dinner service showed us as the viewing audience 2 locks for the black jacket round for the season. For the red team, I think that Megan is a lock for the black jacket round because of her leadership skills during dinner service. Megan was very vocal with her team, and when she saw Magali and Anne-Marie about to serve a steak that was undercooked, she jumped into action and encouraged them to cook it a little longer. Last week, Lulu saw her team making mistakes and allowed them to make the mistakes because it meant having the opportunity to throw them under the bus for elimination. I think that Megan will make it far into the competition. For the blue team, I think that Kyle and his efforts on the meat station were phenomenal. He did the station by himself, and he didn't have any dishes sent back. I think that Kyle will make it far into the black jacket round as well. So although there were no eliminations for the episode, my list for contenders and pretenders remains relatively the same from last week, which on the contenders list had Whit, Kyle, Anthony, Megan, Amanda, and Lulu. And for my pretenders list, Joe, Brittany, Egypt, Magali, and Hannah. I like Egypt as a chef and a cast member for the season, but I think that he will fall short of making the black jacket round. But I also believe that Gordon will extend an olive branch to him if he gets eliminated. But after seeing the previews for next week's episode, I predict that Gordon will be mixing up the teams for the following week, if not the week after that. And this will be to spruce things up. But these are my thoughts on tonight's episode, and I would like to know what you all think. Feel free to leave all comments below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.